Hey everybody. So we'll officially start in 2 minutes. Just want to get you all a chance to kind of log on and say hello and let me know where you're coming from. We got Canada up in here. We got the US. I know we've got someone from France over here. So good to see you all. Hello. Today's burst of innovation is going to be good. Well, I hope they're always good, but I'm excited to talk about today because I think it's going to be slightly counter than what a lot of innovation experts, and I like to put that in quotes for, well, obvious reasons. I think a lot of people say they're experts in things that they are not. But I think it's going to be a little bit counter. Let me take these off so you can actually see my eyes. A little bit counter to what some of the innovation experts out there talk about when it comes to getting people to be innovative. I think it's going to surprise you. And for that reason alone, I am excited to share it with you. I'm also excited to share it with you because it's super simple in terms of how you think about it. So to me, innovation should be simple. It should be accessible. It should be tangible. It shouldn't be this fluffy thing that none of us can wrap our heads around, or we need to pay experts millions of dollars or silo off over here. To me, innovation is for everybody. So thank you for being here. This Wednesday's burst of innovation. I'm going to work really hard to keep us close to 10 minutes today. But here's what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about how to turn your and your team's incremental ideas into the innovative ones that you need to solve those sticky challenges, to go after those opportunities, to discover new opportunities, new ways to meet new demands. Before I dig in, I just want to remind us all that from here on out, we are streaming on Facebook. The group is up above. If you are in the Everyday Innovators tribe, you're already in our private group, so you don't have to worry about this because we're streaming it there too. But if you are in our community, but not necessarily in our tribe, and I love having you here, make sure that you go join this. It's a private/public group, and that's where we'll be streaming it. As I said last week, or on Monday, God, what day is it? As I said on Monday, it is the reason we're doing this and getting off Zoom. It's not because we don't love Zoom. We use it for our jam sessions. We use it for our webinars. But in this case, having you all in one place actually helps me provide a better experience for you. It allows me to really engage, to answer questions, to see what's going on, to get new people like you in here, which means more insights and more questions. So as I'm going through this today, just a reminder, from here on out, we're off Zoom and onto there. You should have gotten an email about it as well, because I don't want to surprise you. And feel free to ask questions. Feel free to add your comments. We are a community, and the more of us that innovate, the stronger we all get. Okay, let's talk about getting from incremental to innovation. So here's the thing. Here's the challenge that we sometimes face. And tell me in the chat bars or in the comment section if you've ever experienced this in a meeting you've either run or just simply been in. Here's what happens. We shuffle into the brainstorm. And by the way, I love and hate brainstorms, as you all know. I've done a whole 10-minute burst on kind of what would make them better. And part of that is giving people the opportunity to innovate when they're not in the brainstorm. But let's say you need innovative ideas from your team. So you pull them together, whether that's formal or informal, whichever. You get them in there and you're like, all right, guys, here's our challenge, right? We need innovation on this challenge. We can't come up with the ideas we've always come up with. We've got to break free. We've got to rearrange the box. We've got to innovate. We've got to think differently. What typically happens? People freeze, right? They don't know how to get there. And here's why. For some of them, getting from the challenge and the problem all the way over, let me share this for you, all the way over to that space of innovation where you really need them, is a really, really long way away. It's so far. Look at that gap between the challenge and the problem in the innovation. And we tell our team, no, like don't do what we've always done. No, don't put in any idea that we've already had. No, we've got to like wipe the slate clean and we've got to innovate in a different way. We got a thumbs up over here. Yeah, so you get this, right? You've been in that meeting. The problem is, look how far we're stretching them. Look how far we have to go to get to innovation. Now, as you know, I provide a ton of tools and templates and resources, a way for us to get them to innovate. So this is one of those that I think if you have a team that is really stuck in obvious or incremental, that's going to help them get there. And let me show you. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to break this down into 2 steps. By the way, while I'm drawing this out for a second, just put in the comment section or the chat bar, whichever you're on today, put in there if you've ever experienced this, right? If this has ever been a situation you're in where you're like, yeah, here we are trying to get to innovation and all of us are shutting down, or all we're getting is the usual incremental. That's what I hear all the time. Hey, I'm getting the same ideas I've always gotten. All right, let me write this down. Okay. Grace says, yes, dealing with this right now. All right, Grace. Well, this one is for you. Here's how we do this. We're going to break it down. So we're going to, instead of trying to go from challenge all the way over to innovation, we're going to go from challenge to, yes, please give me the obvious, give me the incremental. And then we're going to use that to get to innovation. Let me break it down or kind of give you an example of what I mean. Oh, hold on. Let me share. We got some comments in here. I just want to share them first. So Grace is dealing with how to engage remote teams when we are really stretched thin and understaffed. Yeah. So, okay, I'm going to use that as my example, Grace. Paul says very often the culture of innovation isn't there yet. Yeah. Okay, Paul. So this one you'll really appreciate too, right? So here's what we're going to do. We're going to start out by saying, hey, here's our challenge. Here's our problem. Let's get all the ideas out there that we have. Right? And that's going to get us to the incremental ideas, right? We know this is not our endpoint though. What typically happens is here we shut down and we go, we're not getting what we need. This is not serving us. So we're going to stop, right? Right? We're not getting the solutions we need. But instead this time we're going to use this incremental and obvious, and we're actually going to brainstorm and mind map off of that to get to innovation. So Grace, I'm going to use your example of how to engage remote teams when we're really stretched thin and understaffed. And Grace, I'm going to imagine that some of the obvious ideas or the incremental ideas came up when you try to think about that, right? And not you personally, but I'm talking about your team or whomever as well, right? So the team gets together and they go, okay, guys, we got to figure this out. How do we engage our remote teams in a better way? Even given we're all thin, right? So everyone says, oh, well, we do a Zoom happy hour, right? And we keep them connected. We create check-ins. Yes, have more meetings, after work sessions. Okay, this is good. Here's what we're going to do, Grace. You're going to get all that incremental out there, okay? But you're not going to stop here. That's the trap that we fall into. Instead, you're going to go, great. Okay, so after work sessions. You're going to put that in the middle of a new piece of paper or brainstorm, however you do it. And then you're going to say, okay, well, if we were to mind map off of this idea of after work sessions, where would that take us? All right, well, maybe that would take us to 10-minute movement breaks in the day so that the team can connect in a way that's meaningful and help them innovate and prioritize and de-stress. Okay, maybe, and you guys, by the way, feel free to add more stuff in here. All right, well, after work sessions, people are exhausted and don't really want to go, but maybe that idea of camaraderie is good. Maybe we send everybody a $5 Starbucks card. I'm writing this down as we go, right? And then we can have coffee in the morning. Maybe we do something that, in fact, we used to do this standing up at my company ages ago. We do something different now called a daily huddle. Maybe we send them Starbucks gift cards, and then we do a daily huddle in the morning where we all share one best practice and one challenge to get feedback. 15 minutes, we're all standing at our desk, done. Do you see the difference though? When we innovate off of the incremental, we can actually get to the innovation. Of course, Grace, nobody wants to give time after work, right? I don't, do you? Well, no. But instead of stopping here and saying, I'm not getting what I need, we use those incremental ideas that we know aren't going to work, the same ones that are churning around in our brains and our team brains, and we mind map off of that. By doing that, we bridge from the challenge to incremental and obvious. That's fine. Get it all out there to the innovative. Carolyn says, we had an outdoor socially distanced lunch for the local team. It was so good to see everyone together. Yeah, I had a team that I know, they backed up all their cars and everybody sat kind of like in their trunks or on their truck beds, or it sounds really weird, but it was actually awesome. So, but do you see, give me just a yes in the chat bar if you're kind of like, okay, I get this. Like, this is going to get us from incremental to innovative. Put in a question if you're not getting it. That's okay, because if you're not, somebody else isn't too. I want to hear it. The challenge we have, right, is we go from challenge, the trap that we fall into is trying to get all the way to innovative, and people can't always get there. Or we go to incremental and then we get frustrated because we're not getting what we need, and then we stop. But we can use that place in between right here. We can use that to innovate off of. This is one of my favorite exercises to do with members in the tribe. We're about to do it in the next jam section, actually dig into it, because it is amazing how those incremental and obvious ideas can actually take us to whole new places if we're open to it instead of stopping there. So here's the thing. Here's why this works. There's a couple reasons why this works. One is it bridges that gap, right? That's a long distance for a lot of people from the challenge, the problem, the thing that you're dealing with to the place of innovation. That's a really long way for some people. So you help them get there in baby steps, right? It's like creating a switchback up a mountain so that it becomes possible. Here's the other thing it does. You know, I love the neuroscience behind all this. This calms the lizard brain and gives the higher functioning brain and the innovative brain a chance to get out there and to shine. Why? Because we're telling the lizard brain that wants to be here, it wants to be safe and comfortable and not expend a lot of energy, that, hey, that's okay, we're going there first. Then we'll get to the other stuff. So the lizard brain is now on board with innovation because you've broken it down for them. All right, I'm going to put one other thing in my little drawing here. What I want you to do is tell me in the chat bar, how are you going to use this moving forward? How are you going to help yourself and your team go from challenge to incremental, and then use that incremental springboard off of that to get to innovation? Tell me in the chat bar while I put something down here. Okay, awesome. I just want to write that down so you have this, like, take a screenshot right here. This is how it works. It's so simple, right? We're going to get rid of this. Hold on. We're going to get rid of that distance. We're going to make it two-step process for people. I'm going the wrong way. Two-step process for people. Then the benefit, right? The reason it works is lizard brain, and you're breaking up the distance, a long distance. My writing is horrible. All right. Okay, Paul says introduce carrots and that would motivate them. Yeah. So, and here's the thing about carrots, Paul. Give them the carrots for the close in to the further out, right? Make the small wins matter as much as the big wins so that people keep going. Holly says, in the meeting, state where we have been, what has worked and what hasn't worked, and brainstorm from there. Right. Brainstorm off of what you're doing. Brainstorm off of the obvious. And when someone presents, like I think, Grace, you were sharing, right? Like the after hours Zoom cocktail, someone presents that, instead of shutting it down, and Grace, I'm in no way saying you're doing this. I'm just saying in the process, instead of shutting it down, we're going to say, all right, let's brainstorm off of that. Where would that take us? Like, what are we trying to get out of after work sessions? Well, we're trying to build camaraderie. We're trying to give people a chance to breathe. We're trying to be a little bit more personal and connected. All right, great. So how can I use that to get to new ideas? It is so, as I said in the beginning, it's so simple, yet it works so well. And I'll share with you before we close. I was in a meeting once. I was leading a meeting. It was actually on Zoom. And the team couldn't get there. They had been so beaten down by no's and bureaucracy and just, you know, all the things that shut down innovation. And they have this new leader who really wanted to flip that, but the team was really struggling. They wanted it. We all want it, right? We're humans. We want to contribute in that way. We want to create a problem solve and be strategic thinkers, but they just couldn't get there. So I'm in the middle of doing this exercise and it's not working the way I need it to work. So instead of just keeping going, I just stopped, I broke it down, and I did this. And oh my gosh, the ideas and the energy that came out of this meeting was totally breakthrough for the team. They had this in them. They had the innovation in them. What they didn't have was a path that got them there. Use incremental to get to innovation. Don't fall into the trap of either trying to make your team go too far too fast, and don't fall in the trap of stopping at the incremental and getting frustrated. We can get them to that next place if we use that incremental as a springboard. Paul says, so often the path is not evident. Yeah, Kirby, which is why we need to, I agree with you, which is why we need to actually give them the opportunity to experience a path and not try to make them leap too fast. Okay, Paul, let me break it down. So step one is like clearly articulate your challenge or problem, whatever it is you're trying to solve, whether that's an actual problem or a new opportunity, whatever it is, you're going to clearly articulate that, right? That's the starting point. Then you're going to say, all right, what ideas do we have to solve this, right? Like you're going to get them here. You're not going to worry about breakthrough and innovation and like rearranging the box set. You just, all right, let's brainstorm around this. Like, how could we solve this? And let them get out all that lizard brain, incremental and obvious, that's in their brain. Then you're going to pick a couple of those to brainstorm on. And the way you're going to do that is, and I'm going to use my after hours examples, you're going to say, okay, so we've got this idea, right, after hours. What is it about this idea? What is it about this idea we're trying to accomplish? Because at this point, people are saying it's not going to work, blah, 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 right? So what is it about this idea we're trying to accomplish? Well, we want camaraderie. We want to connect on a personal level. We want people a chance to breathe, right? After work sessions. Awesome. Let's put that in here. And then like here, like all the reasons and all the benefits, right? Put that in here and then brainstorm mind map. I love mind mapping. To me, that's the like easiest way to get people to innovate. Mind map off of that. Paul, does that make sense? State the challenge. Let people get the incremental obvious ideas out there. Choose the ones you're going to innovate on. Figure out why, like what you're trying to get out of those ideas. Like what's the value? What's the benefit? What's the reason? Then you're just simply going to take those incremental ideas and you're going to mind map off of that. It's that simple. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. Such an honor to be with you today. I hope you got a lot out of it. Just stick it in the comment section on Facebook or in the chat bars. It's so helpful for me to know. I know I'd said I was going to talk a little bit about control and influence, but this came up a couple times in a couple questions people asked me, so I didn't want to wait to cover it because I think right now in particular where people's lizard's brain are taking over and like we really need to get past that incremental. I didn't want to wait to give this to you. I'm going to talk about that on Monday. It's more of a mindset thing and another way to innovate, of course. All right, everybody. Thank you. Thank you. We'll be on the leadership and innovation group and the private tribe group next week. So just remember that if you come onto Zoom, I won't be there. I'll be over there. So I hope to see you there. All right. Thanks, everyone. Have a good day. Thank you. Oh, you're welcome. You're very welcome. You're welcome. Oh, you're welcome, Christine. Good to see you. I didn't know you were here. Nice. Okay. I'm ending the broadcast. Tamara out.